Greetings and welcome to another episode of Super Speak Sundays. I'm your host, James the Orator. As you know, we have created a space for ordinary people who are doing some extraordinary things. And today we have something very, very special for you. I'm sure you're going to enjoy this one. Hey, you know what? I want to tell you all have been so gracious with sharing my page and liking and all that good stuff. You know, this page and this entire podcast is for you. We ultimately want people to be inspired, to move out of their seats to do great things. So again, thank you so much for all that you've done to in my opinion, make us the #1 podcast out there. We're moving and grooving. Hey, you know what? My t-shirt says felonies don't define futures. And shout out to Indianapolis Pace. They do some great work for men and women who are transitioning out of the penal system. So we want to thank them for all their hard work. I used to be a board member over there, and I really enjoyed my time on the Pace board. But we definitely want to give a shout out. So how's everybody doing? You know, I wore this shirt for a reason. We're gonna explore an area that I'm sure is going to be of interest to all of you, and that's the area of law. We have a great guest. I met this young lady, this young professional. She looks young, y'all, but I don't know how old she is, but she's just a great spirit. But we met during a program, a mediation program we both went through, and I just thought she was such a sharp person. And so without further ado, I'm going to introduce her. Deidra N. Haynes graduated from Indiana University School of Law, also known as McKinney School of Law in Indianapolis, Indiana. She interned while in law school as a prosecutor, public defender, and state public defender, defending those who were facing the death penalty. Immediately after law school, she worked for Barnes and Thornburg, the largest law firm in the state of Indiana, as an employment litigator defending large corporations. Attorney Haynes decided to pursue her passion in advocating for those without a voice. As a result, she now represents employees, the injured, the mentally ill, those accused of criminal offenses, and those experiencing difficult family law issues. Her #1 passion in life is to become a voice for the voiceless. As a one-time troubled youth herself, she understands that sometimes good people make bad decisions. Someone became her voice and guided her through the criminal legal system as a juvenile and young adult. Therefore, she is determined to give back to her community with the same passion that someone rendered to her. Additionally, before Deidra became a powerhouse attorney, she was once a scared and timid young lady who had to hire an attorney to help her seek justice against a huge corporation who demoted and retaliated against her based on her gender. Attorney Haynes uses her past and real-life experiences to relate to her clients. Her passion for justice and compassion for the vulnerable and defenseless allows her to speak out on behalf of the voiceless. Ladies and gentlemen, you've heard her story. She's not afraid to tell it. Please give a warm welcome to Attorney Deidra Haynes.
Hello.
Hey, Deidra, how you doing?
I'm doing well.
Sorry.
How are you?
I'm sorry, Attorney Haynes.
I'm just Deidra.
Deidra, how you doing?
I'm
Hey,
doing well.
customarily when we before we get started in our conversation, we always present our guests with a quote. And once that quote is shown, we want to get your initial reaction.
Okay.
All right? So here we go. The quote says, "You cannot live without lawyers, and certainly you cannot die without them." Joseph H. Chody. I guess that's how you pronounce it.
Okay.
What are your thoughts?
You cannot live without lawyers, and you certainly cannot die without them. I absolutely agree. And the reason why I say that is basically it's in my bio, because lawyers become a voice for the voiceless.
Mhm.
You can't live without them because some people don't have a voice, especially in the criminal justice system, especially fathers who I represent in the family law area or in family law court, because many people don't believe that people who have committed a crime, whether wrongfully accused or maybe they did do it, they don't have a voice.
Mhm.
They don't believe they should have a voice. They should just, get the conviction, get the charge, and do their time. And someone needs to stand up for them. Now, I specifically focus on fathers' rights.
Sure.
Many times, a lot of people believe that mothers have the upper edge, but it's not true. But because fathers have been so tricked into
Mhm.
believing that they have no rights, they go in without a voice. They don't try to fight for custody. I just want to see my child because that's all I can get. They don't have a voice. So you can't live without lawyers, and you certainly don't want to die without them. So it simply means to have a voice for the voiceless. And we're
Wow.
the people that can give people who are voiceless that voice.
Wow. Wow. I noticed in your practice, you specifically work with men, and that's you don't see a lot of that. I mean, most of the times when you talk about law or someone being represented by an attorney, particularly when you talk about family law, women usually have the upper hand. I mean, why? I mean, what is your motivation to work with men?
Oh, absolutely. I never knew my biological father growing up. And I was the child who was crying in the middle of the night. I was the child who was saying, does my father, does he love me enough to fight for me?
Right.
And I never knew who he was. And then at the age of 41, I finally found out who he was through a prophetic conference.
Wow.
And went and searched for him, found him. And at that moment, he denied me again. And so my heart was broken. And all of that abandonment issues, rejection issues, it welled back up in my belly and reminded me of that little child that I was still crying in the inside at 45 years old, still crying, still trying to figure out, now that I found my father, he still doesn't want to be with me. And so when I began to go through the law school process, I said to myself, what good could come out of a little girl who was abandoned? The Bible says, what good could come out of Nazareth, right? Jesus did. Right?
Yeah, right,
So
right.
Well, Lord, I want to take that same quote and I want to say to myself, what good could come out of a person who has been rejected, abandoned, have many issues, I had men issues. I have a criminal record because I fought men. I didn't fight women. They like to pull hair and scratch. I like to duke it out.
Right, right.
So I took all of that hurt and that pain and I asked the Lord to heal me from it.
Wow.
And out of him healing me, he gave me a ministry, because I don't just look at my profession as a lawyer, as my career. It is my ministry. And I birthed my ministry out of representing fathers. Why? Because I want to teach them that you got to be able to stand up, go get your babies. You have that same right that mothers have.
Wow.
You don't have to just have parenting time. You can have joint, physical, and legal custody and make decisions in your child's life. So that's where my focus and my love for family law and specifically for fathers came in at.
Wow, wow. That I'm glad you shared that. There are probably a lot of men who are listening to this podcast right now who just feel hopeless and don't even know that they have the right for joint custody and things of that nature. So when I went to your website, I believe you have 3 different buckets that you serve the community. So you do family law, and then there are 2 others. I think you do estate planning, and then there's one other. What's the other one?
It's family law, estate planning, and employment discrimination. So I fight also in federal court for Black and brown people.
Oh, wow. Okay. So before we get it, because I want to take each of these buckets individually if we can, but I want to dig a little bit deeper into the family law and you representing these men. Talk a little bit about your history and how you got to the point to even wanting to be a lawyer. I heard you mention that once you went to law school, you were focused on this, but what was it when you were a little girl? I mean, did you have aspirations to be a lawyer when you were a young lady?
I did not. In fact, I was a high school dropout, and I was a high school dropout, and I just began to work for just a regular collection agency. And at the collection agency, as a high school dropout, I was in a particular department, and I was a #1 seller because I like to talk. And I can convince people you need to pay your bills, right? Because it's going to lead to more successful things. I was always cute. I was always a cute lady.
Okay. We
always
won't deny that.
I always got harassed.
Mhm.
But one particular person took it too far, right? And when I reported that individual, but my boss retaliated against me. And so from there, I knew that I wanted to become a lawyer because someone fought for me when I didn't have a voice. I was very scared. I was very timid to come up against a big corporation. Plus, I knew I didn't have a high school diploma. The job was paying very well back then. And so if I lost this job, what would I do? But I convinced myself that if I didn't stand up for myself, then no one would. And because I didn't have a voice to stand up for myself, I knew I had to hire someone who was going to become my voice. And when I hired that particular attorney, at the end of the case, she said, Deidra, you actually represented yourself.
Wow.
You found all the facts. You gathered all the facts. You put this case together. I just became your voice. And she said to me, if you ever want to practice law, call me up and I will hire you. Well, she's in Chicago, Illinois. I'm in Indiana, but I did call her and let her know that I did make it to law school. And that's how I decided that I wanted to become a lawyer, because my lawyer said that I would become a good lawyer.
Wow. Now, when you grew up, like when you were in high school, I mean, did you have the gift to, because I'm hearing a duality here. You said you were timid and you couldn't advocate for yourself, but there was someone who saw something in you who said, hey, you need to do this. And so talk about the duality between being this timid and shy young lady versus someone who saw something within you.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the oxymoron, right? I was never able to speak up for myself, but in high school, I always defended everyone else. I could not stand for people to be bullied or picked on. I don't know, this energy, this wisdom, this fight came inside of me when I saw others being vulnerable and being picked on. And so I would always come to their rescue. I've been kicked out of every high school you can imagine in Peoria, Illinois, had to go to a Catholic school because I couldn't get in any more public schools. But when it came to people picking on me, I didn't have the energy or the drive to stand up for myself. But I always had that power, that energy, or that drive to stand up for others. And basically, that's what lawyers do. Even if a lawyer gets in trouble, right? We don't represent ourselves. A wise lawyer will not represent his or herself. He or she's going to go out and hire someone else. And I just find so much passion in representing those without a voice, those who are injured, those who are mentally ill, those who are in criminal matters and criminal issues, and specifically, again, my fathers. I call them my fathers because I just feel like I just love my fathers.
Wow, that's great. I'm very inspired. At one point I thought I would go to law school, but I ended up going the PhD route. So it still works. I still get a chance to talk.
Absolutely.
And doing and creating a podcast and things like that. So I love it.
Absolutely.
So again, with these three buckets, even though you have selected these three buckets to build your practice, which bucket is which one are you most passionate about?
I'm most passionate about the focus of family law, but the focus specifically on fathers. That's my most passionate about it. Right next up to it would be employment discrimination, representing those who have been discriminated in the workplace because of race and gender or sexual orientation or something of that sort. I'm kind of winging myself out of estate planning because I don't feel my passion is in it. But most of my clients, they do need that component of wills and estates. I don't say that it's a real passion of mine. It's something that I know my clients need. And so what I have been doing recently is referring those cases to one of my colleagues, and her name's Tamara Rogers. She's a former County.
Hello, Tam.
Yep. She's a former Marion County judge. And so right now I'm kind of willing myself or weaning myself out of that and referring cases off to Tamara.
As a matter of fact, when we get off here, you make sure you call Tam. I need her on the show as well.
Okay, I sure will.
So let's move to the employment law bucket. I mean, this is a hot button topic. I think that many African Americans have experienced some form of discrimination in the workplace. I can remember when I moved to Indianapolis in 2003 and working and being the only minority manager in an entire organization and going through things and normalizing them because I didn't want to be the problem in the workplace. And
Right.
now that I look back, I'm thinking, I probably had a lawsuit. Talk about
Mhm.
talk
Mhm.
about why people become so passive in the workplace,
Mhm.
knowing that things may not be going the way they should be.
Yeah, absolutely. It goes back to what the very reason why I said I didn't want to file a lawsuit against the corporation, because it's people livelihood.
Hmm.
Similarly, when you file a lawsuit, most times you don't believe that your employer is going to retaliate against you because now you have already filed a gender discrimination or racial discrimination. And little by little, I have found in my area of practice, in my
Hmm.
cases, not speaking for everyone else,
Sure.
that the employer begins to retaliate. And going to work, waking up every morning and going to work, knowing that you're going to be retaliated against, is actually more hurtful
Yes.
than going through racial discrimination because we've all been through it, or gender discrimination. But when you know you're going to be picked on, every little thing is going to be picked apart, it's hard to perform your job. And people are, supporting their families with their income. And so that's why it's so hard for them to say, that, I'm going to file a lawsuit, and carry through with it. There's been many police departments I have sued and have successfully settled those lawsuits out.
Sure.
But those officers, they do tell me, they say, Deidra, I'm telling you right now, I might as well find another career, because although there's many police departments within
Right.
Indiana, everyone kind of know everybody.
Oh
And
yeah.
so when you kind
Oh,
of
yeah.
get that stamped on you that you've sued a police department or you sued a certain organization, it's very hard for you to get a job.
Yeah, I bet. I bet. We've seen an influx in many organizations of these diversity officers and
Mhm.
more focus on diversity. Do you think this is simply window dressing, or organizations really serious about wanting to level the playing field in the workplace?
See, I may be biased because I'm an employment discrimination
Hmm.
lawyer. I think it's window dressing.
Okay.
I have seen so much that is almost unbelievable, where we're still dealing with people hanging nooses in people lockers,
Uh-huh.
people writing KKK on people lockers.
Wow.
It is unbelievable. So to me, I may be biased, but I think it's all window dressing. I would hope and pray that it gets better. But the cases that I represent, I'm representing these people on a daily basis, so that's
Right.
all I see. But
Wow.
I just thank God that He has grounded me enough not to be racist myself, because when you're dealing with these issues, sometimes in your heart
Yes.
you begin to say, I don't like this certain race of people. But I thank God that God has grounded me so much
Yeah.
that I have friends from all different types of races. In
Right.
fact, I voted for Trump the first time. So, now your audience may not like me, but I
Hey.
did. I lost a lot of friends because of that. Now, I didn't vote
Right.
for him the second time, y'all. Didn't vote for him the second time. But I am a person who like to give people chances, right? Until you
Mhm.
prove yourself, and then I'll back out. And so many people don't understand. They can't understand me
Mhm.
because I hang out with so many different groups of people. You don't
Right.
know if I'm a Republican. You don't know if I'm a Democrat, because I'm just a child of God, and that's what
Okay.
I consider myself. And then I vote that way as well. So I don't want to bring in too much political conversation into this conversation, but
Yeah. Yeah.
that's who I am. I feel like I'm a fair person, and you have to stay grounded in this particular area of law that I'm in, because if not, your heart can be turned towards evilness, and then you
Sure.
become the very person that you're fighting up against. You become the very person that you're saying, why are they discriminating? And then you
Right.
find yourself in your heart having hidden agendas in your own heart. So I believe that, in this particular career, I could not do what I am doing today if it was not for the Spirit of the Lord residing within me.
Wow, wow, that's huge. Take us back to childhood. Take us back to now. I heard you mention that you grew up in Peoria, Illinois. Is that right?
Uh-huh.
That you grew up in
Yeah.
Peoria? Okay, so take us back to Peoria. Again, I like to dig a little bit deeper into. You said you were in group homes and all kind of stuff. I mean, what happened?
Yeah. I was angry growing up as a little child because I didn't know my father. And
Hmm.
so because I had that anger inside of me, I carried that anger with me everywhere I went. Whether that
Mm.
was going to the park, someone looked at me crazy, I'm ready to fight. Especially at school. I was very liked by everyone, right? But although I was very quiet and timid, I was very angry as well inside. And the worst thing you want to do is mess with a shy person and a timid person who is angry inside, and you don't think, you don't think they are, because they can explode. And because of that, because of my anger issues and my fatherless issues, I was in and out of juvenile detention. I still have a criminal record, a dark criminal record to this day. So when your shirt said felonies don't define your future, that resonated with me. Although I don't have a felony, I do have misdemeanors with deadly weapons using deadly weapons. I tell my youth, I tell them I will never, ever get my Illinois record expunged, because I want to let them know that felonies or misdemeanors or whatever you did in your future will not, in your past, will not define your future.
Wow. That's huge. And you know what? Again, there's someone listening to this podcast right now, and they're saying, man, I want to do something else, but I got these things hanging over me and I don't know how to move forward. You know, because of your background and because you have been on both sides of the fence, what encouragement would you give someone who's interested in moving into the world of law or any profession?
Yeah. My first thing I would tell them is you have to begin to change your mind. It's a mindset. If you believe the system is going to hold you back, then the system is going to hold you back. But if you say to yourself, nothing that I did in my past will define my future, and believe it. And then sometimes you have to begin to repeat that particular statement to yourself until it gets in your spirit, and then you begin to walk it out. Not only are you speaking it, but you have to walk it out. And I am confident, I am a believer, I'm a woman of faith, that if you continue to speak those things that are not as though they were, that thing will manifest. But you do have to you got to put some work in there. You got to believe it. You got to put your hands to the plow and not look back. But I definitely believe that nothing can hold you back from your future. Listen, my practice partner, his name is Mark Nicholson. He does nothing but criminal law. You guys might want to Google him. I won't tell his story here on the podcast, but if you Google him, he has a long history. He was incarcerated, and he came out, and he's a #1 criminal defense attorney today. So nothing held him back. And it's hard to get a law degree coming out of being incarcerated and being in prison. But I'm telling you that man is a dynamite, a criminal defense attorney, and his past did not hold him back. Now, you talk about somebody who has felonies and that did not define their future in the law. I mean, he is an incredible person. So if he can do it, if I can do it, anyone can do it. You just have to believe, put your hands to the plow.
Wow, that's huge. That's huge. Those words are piercing to the spirit, because again, I'm sure there are people listening who are saying, man, my life is over, but it's never over. It's not over. It's not over.
That's right.
Let's transition to, talking a little bit about, not really transition. I guess we stand in the same area. When you think about lawyers, do you find that a lot of lawyers have criminal history backgrounds? And if so, do these make the best lawyers, in your opinion?
No. The best lawyers are the ones who practice. It's called the practice of law for a reason, right? It's those who will stay up and they will begin to research more than the opposing counsel. They begin to dig in the case more. You don't have to have a criminal history to make you better than anyone else. I believe it's all in regards to the hard work. I do not believe a lot of lawyers have criminal histories that they have been convicted of. Right. But I believe that we're human. We have a lot of things in our backgrounds that many people haven't discovered, haven't been charged with, haven't been convicted with. I know I have things in my background I'm going to my grave with. I'm innocent.
Right. Me too. Right.
But no, I think that it's all in regards to how hard you want to be dedicated to your profession. Some of my clients, my father clients, they call me the Floyd Mayweather of family law, because I go in there boxing.
Y'all better get your ticket. Y'all better get your ticket. Get your ticket.
And so one thing that Floyd says, he says hard work and dedication. Hard work and dedication. That's Floyd Mayweather slogan. And I live by that. I don't even like boxing, but I like Floyd. And he gets on there, he's a little cocky. But I love him because he's confident. He speaks those things that are not as though there were. He goes in and say, I'm going to win, I'm not going to lose. And I believe any lawyer that goes in there with that mentality, right, is going to come out a winner, even if you lose. And the reason why I say that, because if your client knows that you fought for them without a shadow of a doubt, and you lose the case, they're going to still appreciate you. They're going to still love you. They're going to still honor you, because they're going to say, although we lost, I know that you fought for me and you believe it. Yeah.
Wow. That's huge. That's huge. You know, historically, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure historically, you know, lawyers have been, you know, white men. And so you have two great things. You're a female and you're a Black woman.
Yeah.
How was the transition, you know, coming from law school and then actually, you know, getting into the field? I mean, what challenges did you face?
Well, and I still face this today. I believe as a Black female, we have to work much harder than our colleagues, than our male Black colleagues, and definitely than our white colleagues, because we have two whammies against us. We're females, and they don't really think females should be in the practice of law, because it's kind of male dominant. And then again, as you stated, that majority of lawyers are Caucasian. And so I use my African American and my gender as a female as a place to say, listen, I'm coming to the table, and if you don't want me to come to the table, then I'll just build my own table. And that's what I did with you know, building my own law firm.
Wow. Now, how long has the law firm been up and running?
Since 2016. I've been in practice since 2010. And when I first started, I went to Barnes and Thornburg. Worked there for about 3.5 years. Then I went to work for the state. I resigned from there and worked for the state. I didn't like some of the things that I was seeing inside the walls of the state building. And so I actually stopped practicing law for 2.5 years and went to Anderson Theology School and decided I wanted to become a pastor.
Okay. So are you a pastor now?
I'm not. I am an ordained minister, though, but I'm not a pastor.
Okay.
I gave up on that dream. I said, well, you know what? The saints don't like to pay money, people. They don't like to pay people. Jesus paid the price, right?
Right.
Jesus pay all these bills that I have.
Right. But they'll pay that lawyer price, though.
They'll pay the lawyer price.
Right. Wow. Hey, you know what? There's a mother or a father or a guardian who's watching this podcast right now, and they've gone into the room and say, you know, come watch this. Come watch this. I want you to speak with the young people. There's a young person out here who aspires to be a lawyer, and they just need to know, you know, they watch the YouTube videos and all that, but they have you here today. What would you tell a young person who is aspiring to be a lawyer?
Yeah, it's very simple. Don't give up.
Ooh.
If that is your dream, if that is your desire, then you fight for it. Listen, I flunked did not pass my LSAT. LSAT is the law school admission test. I took that test twice, and I did not pass that test twice. It was just the miracle of God that the law school dean called me up and said, listen, the Indiana Supreme Court Chief Justice Randy Shepard decided that he wants to give you a chance. He's just he's gonna put all his coins on you. And he said, but what we're gonna do is we're gonna accept you to law school, because my LSAT score was not high enough for me to get into any law school, not just a low law school, but any law school. But I was always an honored student, so I guess my grades kind of helped me. And the dean called me and she said, listen, Chief Justice Randy Shepard, he was the Supreme Court Justice at the time for Indiana, said he wants to give you a shot to see if you can make it inside law school. But we're going to accept you on a conditional basis, and you have to at least get a 2.0. And I said, oh God.
Yeah, I can do that.
I was good at standardized test.
Right.
But they messed up. They told me I had to do a GPA of 2.0 because I was always a 4.0. I was always an honors. It's just that the test, I don't know, it kind of paralyzed me. So what I would tell that young person, or even that older person who wants to kind of change their career, the key words is do not give up, because the word of God says, I have the king's heart in my hand and I'll turn it which way I choose. See, I didn't get myself into law school because my LSAT score wasn't high enough. It took the Lord, in my opinion, to touch the Chief Justice, the Indiana Supreme Court justice of Indiana to touch his heart to say, I want to give Deidras a chance. And in my world, that was the highest king in the state of Indiana. And he touched his heart and turned it and said, I'm going to give this girl named Deidra a chance. No one else could have done that. It only came from him, which I believe came from the Lord.
Hey, not only are you talking to Attorney Deidra Haynes, we also having Church up in here, y'all. Hey, y'all heard the testimony. Y'all heard the testimony. Hey, there's a man who's watching this. He's gone through divorce, or maybe he hasn't been married at all, but he has children, and he's feeling defeated. He can't see his children regularly. He's having problems with the mother, and I mean, it's on and on and on. What words of encouragement do you have for men who are struggling with in this area?
Absolutely. Fathers, call 317-982-7396. The law office of Deidra Haynes. We'll get you your rights. You deserve to have your rights.
Do I need to post that?
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, let me. Yeah, you said 317. Put this on the screen now. 317
982
73
96.
We're gonna post it.
They have many times fathers do not believe they have rights. And the good thing about the state of Indiana, I can't speak for anyone else, but the state of Indiana, they do not just lean towards the mother, towards the women. I believe that men have a better chance of getting their custody rights because now the state of Indiana see men rising up and wanting to fight. And the best thing that we can ever do for a child is make sure that child knows both parents. And we feel that what's in the best interest of the child. And our judges in the state of Indiana, I believe that they understand that concept. Sure. And it has been working for all of my clients. We come in blazing guns, but we also show our judges that, listen, this man, he's not addicted to drugs. He's not abusive. He has never hurt a child. He has never been in the DCS or the CHINS, Children and Needs Services. He is the father of this child, and he has just as many rights as the mother. And our judges in the state of Indiana, they understand that.
Wow. You've given us a lot of information today, and I think that our listeners are going to be very, very pleased with this information. Ladies and gentlemen, hey, this is you've heard it. Attorney Deidra Haynes. She has a law office here in Indianapolis, Indiana, but she can also serve outside of Indianapolis. Is that correct?
I do. I serve all the way up into Gary, Indiana.
Okay. And so that's my hometown. So I don't know if some of my GI folks need some assistance, but hey, let's not forget to contact Attorney Haynes. She is ready and willing to serve you in any capacity.
Absolutely.
Attorney Haynes, we want to thank you. Thank you for visiting us here at Super Speak Sundays. We again, I think that your presentation and the information that you provided today has just been it's been spot on. Again, we hope that someone is blessed to contact you and they get what they need. I can tell you one thing, listeners. She is very, very passionate about what she does. Again, I told you I met her, some time ago when we were in this mediation class, and she was just full of just a ball of energy. And it's just good energy, and she cares about people. So again, doctor, is it maybe that's next, doctor? Huh? Attorney Haynes, we again thank you for coming on today. And until next time, okay, we'll see you soon.
Thank you so much. You guys have a great day.
Woo! Wow. You all are gracious. Attorney Haynes gave us something to think about today. She gave us a lot to think about in terms of family law and representing dads. Again, remember, felonies don't define futures. Attorney Haynes knows she's had her own experiences with dealing with the law, but that makes her certified, in my opinion. I think that she can speak to what you need. And so again, you are listening to Super Speak Sundays with your host, James the Orator. Again, we want to encourage you to continue to subscribe to our YouTube page. Continue to share on Facebook. Give us your comments. We really appreciate them. They give us some guidance and it lets us know, some things that you want to see and what you want to hear. Until next time, go hug somebody and tell them you love them. Peace.